My desk setup is a constant and never-ending project. I'm always looking to tweak and optimize and looking for cool new gear I can test out. Today we're taking a look at a few next level pieces of gear to upgrade your home office, your desk, for gaming, for work, for everything. So let's just get into it. First up is a speaker system. Unlike anything else I've ever tried before, this is the BlueAnt Soundblade. This is a desk soundbar that obviously looks different from any other desk soundbar I've ever seen, but it's also the best sounding one, surprisingly. It's a 2.1 channel system that puts out 120 watts. You have two drivers and an 80mm subwoofer that fires towards your desk on the bottom. You have a pretty good variety for connectivity. You can use USB-C or a 3.5mm audio jack, and it also connects via Bluetooth if you want as well. It's a pretty straightforward system as far as speakers go. You do have an included remote that you can use to control it. You have a few different EQ settings, but they're kind of dedicated preset buttons for game, music, and movie mode, so you can't adjust and tweak things, unfortunately, but this actually sounds really great, especially considering the size, especially considering this thing is gorgeous. It's definitely a good, like, elevated type of look if you want a clean and minimal looking desk setup. I do also really appreciate on the bottom you have some, feet here that are meant to go over the monitor. They do come with foot extensions, so if you have a taller monitor stand, or if you just want more height clearance, you can do that. Still definitely not going to compete with my big bookshelf speakers. Those are much larger and they're also much more expensive, but considering the price point and how great this thing looks, I think you have a lot of value here. Definitely worth checking out if you're looking to upgrade your desk setup and add some speakers if you've been using headphones only or anything built in. And while we're on the topic of audio, this is the Fosi Audio VOL20. This is a little wireless volume knob that connects via Bluetooth, so you can have it attached to your desk and just have a really nice Bluetooth volume and media controller without having to reach or use your keyboard or anything else. It was just such a simple and clever idea. I really loved it. One of the main reasons I have my amp DAC combo, it's the JDS Labs Element 2. A big decider for that was that gorgeous, nice knob to be able to control the volume. This kind of gives you that without having to pay the premium if you don't necessarily need to drive really high-end headphones. It's super simple and exactly what you'd think. You just rotate it to turn up or down. You also have one button for media controls to be able to play or pause or mute or skip tracks. Really nice. You have this nice LED ring that has full RGB, so you can pick the color or have it scale through or turn it off completely if you want. Works really well. The overall build quality is nice. It is a zinc alloy, so a full metal knob. I did notice the turning is a little bit wobblier than I would like it to be, but the overall heft and build quality still does feel nice. Comes in at $50. Just a really nice addition if you're looking for some easy volume control in your setup. Next up, we have something brand new I've never seen anyone do before. This is the Olight OStation X. This is a 3-in-1 battery device that stores, charges, and monitors the health of your batteries. Super clever. I love this idea. I have one little 4-battery wall charger that works okay, but it's definitely not ideal if you're charging a lot of batteries all at once. I tend to forget, and then it takes multiple days to, work through 8, 12, 16 batteries. It'll hold 32 batteries in total, and it can charge 4 at a time. The standard charging speed is 3.8 hours, where you have a 2.5 hour fast charge option. You open up this top compartment, you pop them in. It doesn't matter which polarity. If you have plus or minus on either side, it can take care of it either way. Drops them down, charges them, and after they're ready, it drops down here. And then you have a nice little dispenser for your batteries at the bottom. Super convenient. It plugs in via USB-C. You also have a secondary USB-C port on here if you want to charge something else or daisy chain these together potentially for power. It just got released, but I've actually had a sample unit for a little while now. Overall, I've been really happy with it, but there are a few things I would love to see in a potentially updated version. First off, it does measure the battery health and it has all of that, but it runs through the app. I do really appreciate that you don't need a login or a profile to use the app. You can continue as a guest, which is always appreciated, but I would love to see a display on here to avoid the app altogether if I want to. Battery chargers a lot of times have screens. I don't know why something this substantial wouldn't have one. The other thing I would love to see in the future, this handles AA batteries only. They do have a AAA version as well. I would love to see one device handle AA and AAA. It seems like it would make things much easier and smoother. You could always run both of them in tandem and have AA AAAs and AAAs, but having it all in one single device with that screen to display the health, I think would be really nice. But overall, even considering those couple of tweaks or complaints, whatever you want to call them, super clever device. I've never really seen anything like it. I'm constantly charging batteries, and this is probably the easiest solution out there right now. Next item up is something I've been wanting for a very long time. This is the FlexiSpot Auto Incline Walking Treadmill. FlexiSpot was also kind enough to sponsor this week's video, so a huge thanks to them. I've been a huge advocate for walking as an ideal form of exercise for many years. It played a big part in my 140-pound weight loss, and it's played a big part in my maintenance 10 years later now. Staying active is extremely important, especially for those of us that spend the majority of our days in front of a desk. This is a new model from FlexiSpot and offers just about everything I can think of in terms of features. The walking pad surface is cushioned and plenty large. It measures 39.4 inches by 16.9 inches. I haven't had any issues feeling like I was unstable or falling off when using it and walking comfortably. It's surprisingly quiet and has a 275-pound weight capacity, plenty for me with almost enough to spare for a second person. Probably my favorite feature of all time, though, is the incline functionality. It has 9 different levels and is automatic at the push of a button. I always prefer a bit of incline when I'm walking. There's also a wireless remote you can hold or set at your desk to control it easily during your walk. It even has Bluetooth built in if you want to connect your phone and listen to music or watch TV with it. Also extremely important, it's a lot easier to move around and store than you'd think. It has wheels built in and stores vertically, so it really doesn't take up too much space. I truly love this thing. It's been so great to be able to carve out a few minutes here and there throughout my day and get a quick walk in without having to get out in the bitter cold or distract myself from work. My wife has even been using it a ton lately too. We both can't get enough of it. FlexiSpot offers a 2-year warranty and a 30-day risk-free trial. Be sure to check the link in the description box down below and use code WP20OFF for $20 off and get started on your 2025 fitness goals right away. Huge thanks again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this week's video. Got a couple of keyboards to talk about next. First up is the Iqunix Magi 65 Pro keyboard. This is a low-profile 65% mechanical keyboard and might honestly be my new favorite low-profile keyboard I have ever used. When I first saw this, what really caught my eye was this extra little bit on the right side. It looked a little gimmicky, but it looked really cool. You have a volume knob on the top, you have some media controls in this X here, and then you have a magnetic slot to be able to put your dongle if you're not using the 2.4 gigahertz mode. I wasn't sure how it was going to be in person, but after opening it and testing it out, it feels as premium as it gets. Way better than expected. The build quality is impeccable. It is a CNC'd aluminum case. It's got some good heft to it, but because it's a low profile, it's not too overbearing. It uses gold red low profile linear switches with a 45 gram force activation, so kind of a medium range there, not overly light or heavy. Feels really nice. The PBT keycaps in combination with that, has a really nice sort of creamy, clicky type of sound that I've been loving. Full RGB backlighting, you have Bluetooth, 2.4 gigahertz, or wired mode available. You can do up to 3 different devices in the Bluetooth as well, which is really great, if you have multiple computer setups like I do. And one other thing I absolutely need to mention is the accessories that come with it. You get a few additional keycaps as well as a keycap puller and a cable to be able to plug it in. All pretty standard stuff, but it is the nicest quality accessory options that I've gotten with any keyboard I've ever tested for the channel. And it's been quite a few over the years. Really great braided coiled USB-C cable that's probably going to have a permanent spot in my setup for any of my keyboards moving forward. And then the keycap puller also just feels really nice and premium, thought out. It is just a polished and well-built overall package here. And I think the cream on top is the fact that it's $120 for the regular version or $140 for the Pro. That is an amazing value keyboard compared to so many options I've used. You get a lot for your money here in terms of polish and feel. It sounds great. I love the overall look and package that you get here for such a really good price point. Absolutely my new favorite low-profile keyboard. On the flip side of things, if you're not a low-profile type of person, one, I have the highest profile keyboard I've ever seen. This is the WhiteFox Eclipse high profile mechanical keyboard. Just look at how unbelievably chunky this thing is. I truly couldn't believe it in person. It's a CNC aluminum high profile case. This is the heaviest keyboard I've ever tried. It comes in at 5.3 pounds, which doesn't even sound as heavy as it really feels. 65% mechanical setup. You have the option of Bluetooth or wired, 3 devices in total for Bluetooth if you want to connect multiples. Inside you have Gatoron yellow linear switches and cherry PBT caps. This thing really does sound excellent. It's VIA QMK compatible, so you can remap things, set macros, whatever you want to do. Always nice to have that extra functionality. The high profile nature of this, I really wasn't sure how it was going to type. I'm not typically one that likes to use a wrist rest. Surprisingly decent ergo for such an obnoxiously tall keyboard here. I've been really liking using this for the past couple of months as I've tested it. I also just really love the design here. It's just super, super clean. I swapped out a few of the keys here for the blue accent keys that were included, but you can also keep this just pure plain white. There is no branding or anything on the case. It is just straightforward and simple. Kind of reminds me of those older retro style chunky keyboards like this, but just updated and modern and clean, but still kind of that retro throwback type of aesthetic and look here. The only thing I've struggled with over my past couple of months of testing this is the price point. It comes in at $255 right now, which is just kind of a tough pill to swallow compared to what a lot of the competition is offering in that $100 to $150 or $200 range. Like I talked about that low profile keyboard last time, you get a little bit more premium accessories added on, a similarly great build quality, and it's, half of the price almost. So that is the only tough part here, is the steep price point. But if that's something that's not an issue for you, I think there are few brands that are really offering something like this. And I think the overall package has been really great to use, even though the price point is a bit steep. Next up, we've got a really unique portable monitor setup. This is the JSAUX Flip Go Pro 16-inch model. I think this is a little bit newer from their offerings. They have a few different options on their website. 16-inch Pro is kind of the sweet spot for what I wanted. This is a fully portable dual monitor setup that folds into about the size of a laptop, so you can take it to go. This is always a category I'm looking at because I get so spoiled with my giant monitor here. If I'm trying to get work done when I'm traveling, it gets really difficult to work on even a 16-inch laptop screen. Getting in some of the basic specs, you have 2 16-inch monitors in tandem here. So if you combine them, it totals 22 inches. They are 1600p IPS panels, so they each have 2560 by 1600 resolution, 500 nits of brightness, and it can actually be powered from your laptop through to USB-C. You can also use this as a power delivery hub if you'd prefer. Plug it into the wall and have your laptop charged from this. It can provide up to 60 watts. It seems to be mainly focused on USB-C connection. You do have the option of a micro HDMI, but honestly, who wants to use that? And in addition to the connection ports, you do have a little extra USB hub for your computer if you want to use it while it's plugged in. You get 2 USB-A ports and 1 USB-C port. I know that was a big info dump. That kind of covers all of the basics though, and aside from the actual dual monitor setup here, I feel like the big draw is the connection points. It actually connects via magnets on the back, and you have several different mounting options that they offer. Most of them are additional options that you have to purchase, but the prices are pretty reasonable. Most of the additional mounts are going to be like $40 to $60 depending on what you want. Here is kind of what I assume to be their permanent home type of setup here with this heavy base stand. It's really nice. This is how I've been using it and testing it at home. They do also have a folding folio stand for travel. That's actually what I brought to CES with me this year to use to bring this along with me. And then if you want, they do have a magnetic VESA mount option. So if you want to keep it on a monitor arm and move it around, you do have that available as well. I have seen quite a few reports of people complaining about the magnet strength for these mounts. I personally haven't had any issues with that. So I don't know if I just got a particularly strong magnet unit here, but it hasn't really been an issue for me, but be aware, you might want to be a little bit cautious just because it is only magnets holding this thing up, but I haven't had any problems with it personally. The overall package here is really nice though. I think the resolution is nice and high for getting work done. It's been plenty bright for my purposes. The overall image and color quality has been good. I think it's been a really nice accessory monitor to have as a secondary display to my MacBook Pro when I'm getting work done on the go. And I just really love that you get, basically a 22-inch screen that folds into the size of a laptop. Super easy to throw into a backpack and take it on the go. I love that it can be powered through the laptop as well, so you don't need to worry about bringing an extra power adapter unless you want to. Really happy with it overall. I think the only upgrade here would be if it was OLED panels, but who knows, the price would probably skyrocket for that as well. I do know of a couple brands doing that. Maybe I'll test those down the road, but in the meantime, this has been really great at a pretty respectable price point with tons of great mounting options. Next up, we have the Rongta thermal printer. This isn't an exciting one by any means, but I'm sure most folks are like me and just hate the idea of printers. I usually find myself going over to FedEx in the city for the rare occasion I need to print something just because it's a huge hassle. I got a thermal ink label printer a while back and really fell in love with this. I found this version of it here, different brand and everything, but it prints full size pages, which is excellent. So full US letter pages, 8.5 by 11 or A4 size for everyone else in the world. And the best and main selling point here, this is a printer that doesn't ever require any kind of ink. It uses thermal paper, which when I talked about the label printer, a bunch of people ragged on me in the comments saying it's super dangerous and unhealthy. So, you've been warned, do your own research with all of that stuff. The rare occasion I need to print something, I'm not too stressed about it, but it uses the thermal paper, so you don't need any ink ever. So you're not going to need to worry about it running out or drying out over time if you rarely need to print stuff like I do. So this is a real sweet spot. Because of that too, you get a really tiny form factor here. This is a printer that prints full size sheets that can fit in the palm of my hand very easily. Has a battery built in too, so you don't even need to keep it plugged in all the time. You can print directly from your phone through iOS or Android. It does require the use of their app though, which was a bit of a bummer. The app kind of stinks if I'm being honest, but the printer itself has been working and the app itself does work. It's just not very pleasant to use. Will work with desktop computers, but only on the Windows side of things. There is no Mac support again, which is another bummer. Pricing is pretty reasonable though. It comes in at $65. If you're like me and only need to print things once or twice a year and don't need to worry about printer ink or anything, grabbing something like this I think would be a really great thing and a great simple addition to your setup. But on that note, that is the end of the list. Hopefully you found some cool stuff to upgrade your setup. Like I said, it is an ongoing project for me. I'm always looking to tweak and change and upgrade, and I love testing this type of stuff out. So if there's anything you want me to see, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to chat about it. I'm always on the hunt. Thank you all so much for watching now, and I'll talk to you in the next one.